Starting to see a big shift in our age demographic switching to things like, the Fender Tonemaster Pro, which is what I preach, or the Axe FX 3 or the Kemper, or all these different modelers. And the real question is, why? Playing the guitar in the early 2000s, most of us were playing on old solid-state digital amps that sounded meh. For me, I played the Rolling Cube for years until my sophomore year in high school when I was given a crate amp that was able to switch from a dirty to a clean channel, and instantly I just felt like a rock star. I feel like a lot of us coming into our, mid to late 20s into our early 30s, we think that we need to go to the world of tube because we can finally afford some of the nicer end gear, and all of our heroes from the 70s and 80s, they came up using tube gear. Starting to see a big shift in our age demographic switching to things like, the Fender Tonemaster Pro, which is what I preach, or the Axe FX 3 or the Kemper, or all these different modelers. And the real question is, why? Why are we making the change to these units? So I thought I would just talk about my story coming into the world of digital modeling and ultimately why I've kind of gone all in on digital tones. One, it starts with, when I started pursuing music professionally, I invested in good gear. I bought a Fender Deluxe Reverb 1965 reissue, which is not a cheap amp, and then I built my own pedal board. I really got my start doing theater, so during the Rock of Ages performance, I need to have a vast selection of tones, which it sounded great and I pulled it off, but it was not cheap. I think my total investment was around $3 grand. Now, let's talk about transporting all this. So we get all this gear, it sounds great, we finally get our pedal board set up how we like, we enjoy the tones we're getting, now it's time to move it around. Well, if you haven't used a tube amp before, it's great. It sounds wonderful, but it is also heavy. My entire rig was just shy of 70 pounds. At the gigs that I was playing at, we were playing at a large amphitheater. I had to walk down all these steps with my my Deluxe Reverb in one hand, my pedal board strapped around, my Les Paul in my other hand, and doing the fireman's carry of all this heavy gear. And when I started getting into the circuit of playing out live, I noticed there was, new pieces of gear that was significantly lighter, plugged into a PA system, and it sounded just as good. If you're unfamiliar, most of the gigs that I was playing at, my amp was actually mic'd with either a 57 or whatever mic that they had in-house. This is when I started realizing, it doesn't really matter how loud my amp is. I just need to be able to get it mic'd properly to get a good tone. After these gigs, I started getting into recording. This is when my eyes really started to open. If you're going to record a tube amp, one, you gotta invest in a nice tube amp. Two, you need to invest in a nice pedal board. Three, now the gate holder for good guitar tones when recording are microphones. Microphones are not cheap. Plus you got the cabling for it. You've got to get an interface for it. Now let's just say you've got all this stuff figured out. The next thing you gotta figure out is how are you gonna isolate your sound? When you're recording, say my dogs bark. Oh, well I gotta stop recording. I gotta wait for them to stop barking. My room, in this room, before I got it set up how I liked, it was all bare hardwood floor, so I had a lot of natural reverb in the room. So I would have to go in and learn how to do gates and noise cutting and EQing things to get certain sounds out while really getting the tone that I want out of my amp. This is when I signed up for courses at Full Sail University and started learning the art of music production. I got my first interface in my launch box, the Focusrite 2i2, and I started dialing into the world of recording. My first DAW that I really jumped into and understood with great detail is Logic Pro, and it's still what I prefer using today. At the time in school, I was using just the presets on Logic Pro, so using all of the Apple amps. This is when I found out about companies like Neural DSP who create what's called VST. Then Black Friday came around and I got a couple of different plugins from Neural DSP and really loved the world of digital guitar amps. I was just like, whoa, stuff can sound this good? I thought digital was supposed to be crap because this is what I grew up on. Then I got my second interface. This is the Xtone Pro. One thing that is really cool about this one versus the Focusrite is it has automatic gain staging for your instrument and it has MIDI presets. So what I was doing was plugging directly into my Neural DSP plugin and programming this, these different pedals to control different parameters of the preset via MIDI. This was my gateway drug to what I use now, which is the Fender Tonemaster Pro. The world of digital guitar tones is not going away. If you're someone who's hesitant about digital guitar tones, let me assure you this is the future. And let me explain to you why. One, ease of use. You no longer need to buy one tube amp, one pedal board, and run with it. You know, most of the time people want to buy different amps anyway, so really in a sense you're going to be saving money by getting a digital amp, either profiler or modeler. A profiler basically tries to replicate one amp very well. A modeler tries to create a digital replication of that amp and allows you to control parameters on it where it'll react similar to how the real thing will. Now here's the value proposition for getting into digitaling. So if you just want to use the 65 Deluxe Reverb, which is what I have, and a pedal board, you're looking at about, you know, at least a $3,000 investment when it's all said and done. That's one amp, one sound. This is not considering changing tubes or changing speakers, which is a whole other community within the guitar world. Now, on the flip side, you can buy a ToneMaster Pro, a FR cab of your choice. I'm using the Fender 12-inch, and you can get an expression pedal. That by itself will run you about $2,200. So instantly, we're not paying as much as we are if we're going the tube world. Second, here's the thing. Most of the time when, like I said, with the tube amps, you're capped by the microphone and mic placement. In the digital world, we call this impulse response. So if all you have is a 57, better find your sweet spot. But the cool thing about going into a modeler, we have a ton of options when it comes to amps. We're no longer stuck with one amp. You can use your favorite amp and create a pedal board, so you can use it how you want to with analog gear. You can say, no, I just want to do presets, so this preset is going to be my clean, and you can switch between so many different amps. Say you create 5 different guitar tones. Each guitar tone has its own pedal board with pedals active and different cabinets, mic with different mics. If you were to do this in a real studio, you are going to be spending about $20,000 on gear. And that's not even getting into sound isolation and, you know, wiring it all up to a console and being able to switch between it all. Stuff adds up really, really quick. If you were someone who just wants to record music, make your own music, and, you know, play live, I promise you, man, these modelers, once you start getting into them, you're gonna be like, why did I not do this sooner? Here's another area for you to consider. I record 2 tracks at the same time. One, I record whatever amp that I'm using for the sound that's inspiring the track that I'm working on. And 2, I record the dry signal. And I do both of these at the same time. And I record almost exclusively these days with the ToneMaster Pro. So the reason why it's important to record both presets is 1, you want to record the original idea, the original tone that gave you that inspiration. But 2, if you have the dry signal, you can do what's called reamping. So reamping is the process of taking your signal, creating whatever sound you want, whatever preset you have, and taking that guitar signal, pumping it into an amp, reamping it, and to get new tones that maybe you know, whenever we're getting to the mixing and mastering stage, it fits the song a little bit better. These are things that whenever you're doing it on the fly, you don't want to spend a lot of time in. You really want to just write as much as possible. Write and record and capture these ideas so you don't lose them. Digital allows you to do all this. And you can do it from a home studio. Like with me now, I don't really have to worry about sound isolation. If I'm doing stuff with vocals, I've got some tricks that I can do in my house where I don't need to have a dedicated vocal booth. But at the end of the day, I don't have to pay $150 or $200 an hour for a session engineer and recording space. You know, once I get past the first investment of building out your studio, which let's just say I'd recommend getting some type of M1 or M2 Mac computer. So that'll set you up about what, almost $2,000 plus a digital modeler. I use the Fender ToneMaster Pro, but all of them are about $1,700 now, so we're at $3,700. You want to get Logic Pro, that'll be about $200 to record. So, you know, you're looking at a total investment of like $3,000. But with that $3,000, you can now create any song that you want, get any guitar tone that you want. And you have the ease of whatever you record in your DAW, you can also take out live, and you don't have to worry about your tubes warming up properly before you push them. You don't have to worry about mic placement, and every microphone sounds different. Every SM57, while it has a similar frequency response, will sound different. You can control all of this to get a very consistent tone. And don't get me wrong, there are going to be some guys who just will always think that tubes are the way to go. And while I agree that, you know, a digital modeler doesn't really push air or have that same smell as tube amps when they're cooking, the trade-offs are, 1, it's so light. My entire rig for the Adams family weighed less than just my deluxe reverb. And that's guitar included, pedal, expression pedal, and FR cab. 2, flexibility. I can control my guitar tone and just send it to the front of house engineer so he can control the overall volumes, but I am in control of what my amp sounds like, what my guitar sounds like, and what my guitar voice sounds like. 3, reliability. You know, right now with the crisis going on in Ukraine and Russia, there is a big shortage of tubes. And if you've had to replace a tube right now, you understand exactly what I'm saying. Prices are a little inflated. There are rumors, or I heard rumors of them building a factory in Georgia, but I haven't seen anything out of it. And honestly, I'm so far in the digital world that I haven't even been keeping up. So it's very well, it's already set up, and maybe the tube crisis isn't what it used to be when I first got into tube. But really, the other thing is that it just feels like endless inspiration, because there's so many new tones. You know, the Fender unit is the newest kid on the block. It doesn't have all the features that the other modelers have. But let's just say you get into Fractal Audio. Fractal Audio has been giving us consistent updates about every 6 months. And every 6 months, there's a ton of new amps, ton of new pedals, ton of new IRs coming out. Just an endless amount of creativity for us creators, you know, songwriters and producers. So I would just encourage you that if you're one of these guys who thinks that the digital thing is just a fad right now, it's not. And it's really good. Your money's gonna get you what you pay for it. So if you're only spending $300 or $400 in a digital modeler and you're expecting that to replace your $2,000 or $3,000 tube amp, spoiler alert, it's not gonna do that. But if you spend quality money on, you know, either a Tone Master Pro, a Quad Cortex, the Helix, the FM9, the Axe-Fx 3, if you're spending top-end money for a modeler, you should expect top-end results, and you'll get them. And it's gonna save you money in the long run. If you're just a hobbyist bedroom player who doesn't have any aspirations of playing live or recording music and put it out there, these units are honestly overkill for you. I would not recommend, unless if you just have the money and it brings you joy, stop trying to find the best tone and just get what's good enough for you, which I believe for 99% of the guitar players out there, buy you an interface and buy you a plugin. All the Neural DSP plugins are really good. All of the, Amplitude is really good. I have Amplitude 5 Max. Any modern VST or guitar plugin, and VST, if you're unfamiliar, stands for Virtual Studio Technology, basically digital amps. Get you a solid interface, get a few VSTs, and just have fun.
If you are watching to this part, play my game. I want to know what you are grateful for in the comment section. So for me, I am grateful that you are here. I'm grateful for all the new subscribers, and thank you guys so much for tuning in and listening to me. If you are interested in studying with me, both guitar theory and sound design, I have a Patreon. $5 a month gets you into the Cool Kids Club. And I write everything from articles about how to do sweep picking to some legato exercises to diatonic studies to what is parallel programming, which, by the way, I have a video of it. So if you're interested, check out my channel. You can see a ton of content about the Tone Master Pro, as well as hear some of the original compositions I'm working on. And with that, I just want to say thank you, and I'll see you in the next video.